Aaron freaking Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, guys, this guy cannot be out of the news for one day, but Aaron Rodgers says his future with the New York Jets hangs in the balance of the new coach/GM. AKA basically kind of hinting like, hey, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a say in who the head coach is and the general manager is. If he doesn't get his, he's going to be, I'm out. Now, I said this personally that I think Aaron Rodgers needs to walk away, AKA retire or go somewhere like San Francisco. His time in New York is over. But guys, should the New York Giants fans be in panic mode if Aaron Rodgers does come back to New York? So if Aaron Rodgers stays in New York, has a say of who the head coach is, who the general manager is, New York Jets fans need to panic. When you guys think about this, Garrett Wilson, their 2022 number 1 pick in the draft, I think he was 10th overall, basically said this season, if Aaron Rodgers comes back next season, he wants out. He wants traded. Are you willing to risk that? Are you willing to wish to bring back a washed-up quarterback to your team to get rid of your number 1 draft pick from 2022? Jets fans, are you willing to do that? I'm not. Garrett Wilson is the real deal. And I'm seeing a lot of fans out there that want Aaron Rodgers back in 2025. I see a lot of fans saying, hey, Aaron Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback. Look at the stats. Every major stat category, he's top 10. 3,897 yards passing this season, which is 8th in the NFL. 28 touchdowns this season, which is 7th in the NFL. But if you guys would use your eyes test and realize that Aaron Rodgers is not a top 10 quarterback. Guys, if Aaron Rodgers comes back to New York and you are agreeing with this as a New York Jets fan, you should be in panic mode. It is time to panic. Because, guys, Aaron Rodgers is the beginning of the end of the New York Jets next season if he comes back. As his first season, he was 5-12 this season. He was 5-12. This is the worst Jets record since 2021 when they went 4-12. And guess what? Zach Wilson was their quarterback. Mr. Zach Wilson, he's terrible, right? Zach Wilson led the Jets to 2 back-to-back 7-10 seasons. Aaron Rodgers 5-12. So who's really better now? But New York Giants fans, if Aaron Rodgers comes back to town, you have to panic. You have to panic because that means he had a say in the head coach. That means he had a say in the general manager. That means he's going to be underneath Aaron Rodgers' fingerprint for the next 5 years. Are you guys happy being 5-12? Are you happy being 4-13? Are you happy being a top 10 draft pick each and every year? Welcome Aaron Rodgers back to town then. But guys, should the New York Football Giants be in panic or patient mode that Aaron Rodgers even thinking about coming back? Laura says, hey, he can stay with the Jets. I understand, Buck. History says he repeats himself. And I understand he's been in the Jets for 2 seasons. And history says he's going to come to Minnesota next year. I don't want him. Stay in New York, says Laura. Lions Hype says Aaron is washed. And Lions Hype, I agree with you, brother. I agree with you, man. He is definitely not the MVP of Aaron Rodgers from just, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Right? He's definitely not a Super Bowl winning quarterback right now. The Jets do not even have a Super Bowl winning roster. Let's just be honest. But John says, slow it down, baby. No, that's the wrong one. It says, don't panic. John says, slow it down. Be patient. Be patient. And Alpha Rob says, be patient. Jets fans, welcome Aaron Rodgers back. Slow it down, baby, because I want those guaranteed wins every year. He says, I want those 2 wins every year. And Drew says, that's not what Aaron Rodgers said. He said it's up to the general manager and coach on whether he want to keep him or not. Drew, sometimes, buddy, you have to read between the lines. You have to read between the lines. That tells me it depends the head coach or general manager wants me. That is a sly jab at Woody Johnson saying, hey, if you want me to come, you better ask who I want as the head coach. You better ask who I want as a general manager. You better ask who I want on this roster. That's what it says to me. We've seen it a couple years ago when he said that. Yeah, I'm going to New York, but, you know, if you guys get this guy, this guy, it'd be a hell of a lot easier. Of course, he didn't say that, but all of a sudden they sign MVS. All of a sudden they sign Alan Lazard. All of a sudden, what's his face was on the roster? Dalvin Cook. Now all of a sudden Devontae Adams is there. Like, come on. Read between the lines, Drew. Read between the lines. Young Nine Lim Sim says Aaron Rodgers needs a running game, limit his passing to 20 to 25 times a game. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers' ego says, hey, I got to throw the ball 40 times a game. That's why Breece Hall had his worst game of worst season of his career. Granted, it's only second year, whatever, right? But still, not very good. Patience, boys. Patience, she says. Patience. Ant says, even without Rodgers, the Jets are still in trouble. And Ant, you are correct. They can have Aaron Rodgers or they cannot have Aaron Rodgers. Either way, next year they're going to suck. But, would you rather have an opportunity to grow with a young quarterback, rookie quarterback, whatever, right? And Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Breece Hall. They got a nice young nucleus in New York. If you keep Aaron Rodgers for one more year, you probably don't draft a quarterback. Granted, the quarterback drafting class is pretty bad. Well, you got Cam Ward and Shador, and that's about it. But still, come on. No risk it, no biscuit, and Aaron Rodgers is holding you back. Aaron Rodgers is like that ex wearing that Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. Like, man, she looks good, but I know you're one and done over there, baby. I want that ring. I want that ring. That's why I'm wearing that purple jersey. If you know, you know. Laura says Giants or the Jets. Keep him in MetLife Stadium, just not in Minnesota, she says. Josh says Wilson is not even in the same stratosphere as Rodgers when he was in his prime. I'm not saying Garrett Wilson is the best receiver in the NFL, Josh, but I'm saying when Garrett Wilson is your best receiver on your team, and he's basically saying, "Hey, it's me or him." Do you want a 25-year-old receiver that is ascending into his prime, or a 43-year-old quarterback that's well past his prime? Give me that young thug over there. Give me two of those 25-year-olds for that 43-year-old. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Excuse me. Richard Lopez says, anybody who thinks the Texans have a chance must have some type of meds. Okay. Slow down. Ant says Aaron needs a coach who will challenge him like he can't get fired like Mike T. I could see his potential going to Pittsburgh. They'll love getting old quarterbacks that aren't in their prime anymore. And I think that's what Aaron Rodgers needs to be challenged, right? Because when he was with the Packers and Matt LaFleur, he was a young coach, right? Well, younger than Aaron Rodgers. Let's just be honest. It was Aaron Rodgers' way or the highway over there. Hell, he got Mike McCarthy pushed out. But yeah, you're right. Lions Hype says, do you think the greatest trade ever, Stafford for Goff? Goffy, Josh, and yes. The Lions, they definitely won that trade with like Matthew Stafford. I definitely agree. JM says wide receivers don't win Super Bowls, quarterbacks do. You are correct, JM. It is a quarterback-driven league, but are you telling me that Aaron Rodgers is going to win a Super Bowl without Garrett Wilson? Can you legitimately look at me in the face and say Aaron Rodgers will win a Super Bowl without Garrett Wilson on the New York Jets? No. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Next up